Okay, guys, welcome to a Sports Matters TV special in association with Wrestle Slam the podcast. And guys, it doesn't get bigger than this. We've got one of the biggest names from the world of wrestling and entertainment, a guy that I've followed for many years, specifically since 2014. And we're massive fans here in Ireland of Karrion Kross. And we've got him right now with us. How's things with you, my man? How are you keeping?
Very good. Happy to be here. I appreciate it. Everything is good, man. Family is healthy. I'm healthy, feeling strong. A lot of things going on this year. Very, very big things. Just being patient and staying ready to be a part of it all.
Definitely. And it's always a busy year for you. You're in demand. You know, last year was incredible. This year is going to be super incredible. But let's talk, obviously, we'll talk recent days and weeks, and we have to talk the man himself, Chris Bey. There was massive feedback from Las Vegas, an incredible event to raise funds for Chris Bey. But Carrie, that meant a lot to you. Obviously, you're close. There was a great turnout, and the feedback has been incredible. It's been trending on Twitter, and that's what we want to see. It's big things.
Especially too with the proceeds all going to Chris, right? It's not just another wrestling show. It was people from all over the place, all over the business, in companies that are competing with one another, all going, they're coming under one roof for him, and make sure people get the show that they deserve, and the money collected from meet and greets, from ticket sales, from the streaming service buys on Triller. Everything's going to Chris, and I was very, very happy with it. And more importantly, the very first thing I asked Chris right when I saw him, he got in the ring, gave him a big hug and said, "You enjoy the match?" Because I really enjoyed the match. And I just kept checking in with him. "You enjoying the show?" He's like, "Oh my God, this is incredible." So he was really happy with it, and he was humbled and honored. And, a lot of times during the night, he was just speechless. And that's what I wanted to see. I just want to make sure that, he remains good. He's a very He's one of the mentally, he's one of the strongest people I've ever met in my life. I've met people from all over the world. I've been very fortunate to travel. And the thing is about strong people is they're still human. It's cool to put the red cape on Chris and say he's Superman. He practically is, but he's still a human being at the end of the day. And for me as his friend, I just want him to know that everybody across the boards is here for whatever he needs. He doesn't have to be the guy who can do the impossible 24/7. If he needs anything, he's got a world that's ready to pick up the phone and be there for him. Bottom line.
He does. And as well as anyone, Carrion, that the wrestling community is a beautiful thing. I've been blessed to travel all around the world for events for many, many years. And it's just when everyone comes together, there's no better place within the wrestling community to soldier on and to raise funds and just to make a great night happen.
Absolutely. I mean, and that's exactly what happened. And we all, on behalf of Chris and Chris himself, appreciate it.
Most definitely. Now, there's a lot of stuff I want to talk about. There's many, many topics, but 2025 promises to be a big year for you, okay? We've seen you've been announced for, obviously, GWC Bloodsport. That's a big thing. Obviously, WWE making a move to Netflix is a big thing. How would you rate your year so far? Obviously, look, we're early days into 2025, but listen, you're in demand, my man, and we wanna see you everywhere.
And I really appreciate that. Look, it's a funny thing. So I've been going out of my way to be disliked and hated. That's part of the gig for over 2.5 years. And the modern wrestling audience is smartened up to what we're doing. The more you lean in and commit to the gimmick, the more they appreciate it, right? And there's been a very strange tide that's been turning over the last year and a half. And it's like people are beginning to root for the terrible things that I've been doing to people. And I think about it like Superman and Zod. Everybody liked Zod as the villain for Superman. Everybody liked Joker for the villain for Batman. And there's that appeal that the audience has for a good villain, and it is so appreciated. And in terms of directly answering your question about my year so far, look, man, I'm grateful for it all. even on the most basic levels, being a close friend of Chris, I rethink everything going on in my life right now. Even just be able to talk to you right now and speak with my hands and pick up this cup of coffee, like I'm grateful for it all. I'm still very hungry, and there's still a lot that I want to accomplish in WWE. Um, it's one of the best times in wrestling to be in WWE, and I'm glad I'm here. But my God, man, there's still so much I want to do and stories I want to tell. And I would like to be performing more for people. And I don't have any control over that, but I'm here and I remain ready. I remain ready. And it's always very flattering to see that I am in demand elsewhere. And the company is so cool about that
Mm.
with this regime. They'll let you go and do that stuff as long as the companies can meet on a common ground, and for that I am so appreciative, especially with Bloodsport too. My career trajectory completely changed when I did Josh Barnett's Bloodsport. He opened the doors for me, and I got to perform in a very special way that other people had. The match format, the style, the genres I was doing prior to that, it didn't afford that. So that put me through the roof once I started working for Josh and GCW. And with that being in my hometown in Las Vegas, where I got my break, born and raised in New York, but I moved to Vegas with a dream, and the dream began there. It's very cool for me.
And like I must say, Karrion, as a fan and a big fan of yours, okay, it can be very frustrating. Though it's a good thing that we see, blood sports being announced, and there's opportunities. We see WWE are kind of a bit more they're kind of better to wrestlers in the sense, there's a bit more freedom. You could do a bit more. But as a fan, I believe, first of all, you do have unfinished business in WWE. I think, personally, you could win the WWE Championship, the World Heavyweight Championship, the Intercontinental title. And I believe that's going to come. I believe that's around the corner. I believe we'll see it before the end of the year. But as a fan, it is frustrating that Netflix has been announced. We're watching a bit more stuff on Netflix. And it's just, you know what I mean? There's a bit of a pause, but the fans, they hate that. And we want to see more of you on the screen. So look, we're hoping it comes. And I know you feel a lot from the fans, definitely.
I really do, and I appreciate you saying that. It's funny. Everybody always asks me. They ask me when I meet them in person what the hardest part of the job is, and they're like, "Is it the travel? Is it the travel?" And I'm like, "No, I love traveling. It's what precedes after, you know, after they ask me, like they're always just like, we wish we got more of you. We wish we would see more of you. There's nothing we can do about that. That's the hardest part, is hearing from dozens of people every week that you never meet how they're huge fans of yours, and they wish they could see you do more, or wish you'd fight this guy or that guy or the belt thing. But I can't do anything about it. All I can do is stay ready. That's the hardest part of being, but it's also flattering. It's like, hey man, that's really cool, because I know, look, I don't live in a wild state of delusion. Like, we are just a form of entertainment for most people. They've got a 9 to 5, their moms, their dads, there's different things they're grieving, they're chasing their own dreams. And for 2 or 3 times a week, they put the TV on and they watch wrestling, and they get that little bit of escapism to watch a show they love. So for them to even be thinking about the character I'm portraying, or even me as a person, um, and come and say that to me, I think that's really cool, because I could just be a simple television character for them and not even really exist as a human being. So I do appreciate it.
Definitely. And you mentioned character, like the Karrion Kross of 2025 is a character I love. I've seen, what I mean, NXT, first of all, incredible. You know what I mean? One of the biggest, stars in the world, NXT, obviously making the move then up to, I suppose, people will say the higher brand, even though NXT is pretty much, it's the top dog as well. But I love your character. I love the way you've transformed and changed. And I really believe we're onto something very special here. So I just hope, and I believe it's going to happen. It's only a couple of weeks away that we see a huge run, because the matches last year, AJ Styles, there were some incredible matches where we said, this guy, we know what he can do. We're finally starting to see it. So look, we're praying it's around the corner, but it's a big year for you. And look, you appreciate the indie scene. You appreciate wrestling in general. It's a great time for the fans. WWE connecting with Impact. There's so much happening. But listen, it is a great time to be a wrestling fan, and we're seeing a lot of stuff happening right now. So it must excite you, what's around the corner.
It really does, man. And Now that WWE is on a streaming service, is on Netflix, there's countries all over the world that have never had TV deals for WWE that can actually finally watch it because they have access to Netflix. It's never become Wrestling has never been bigger than it is right now, legitimately. That sounds like a cool cliche thing to say. No, it really is. Like there are countries that have never seen this before. The fan base is going to expand, and it's an opportunity for us to demonstrate what we love so much about telling stories and creating moments for people. Like people that I meet that always like they don't know who I am. They say, "Hey, what do you do for a living?" "You look like a wrestler." It's the first thing they would say. "You look like a wrestler." I am a wrestler. And they always say, "Why do you do that?" Like, they have all the questions people always have about wrestling, you know. And I tell them like it's about creating moments for people that they're going to take with them and remember for the rest of their lives, that they get laughed about, or it's that oh my god moment with their friends and their family. It's like what the people did before I was a wrestler, when I was a little kid in the audience, or when I watched it on TV. Like I was like, that is exactly what I want to do when I grow up, and I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I will find a way to do that. I want to do that, that Roddy Piper moment when he's about to, smash Brett over the head for the IC title, and there's no words, but the commentary's carrying it. He's like, do I, this is my cousin. Like, this is the IC title. Like, how bad do I want to be IC champion? And he doesn't do it. And then he loses the match, and he wants to just punch right through Brett's face. But then they walk off together. Like, stuff like that, man. Macho and Elizabeth. I mean, all of that stuff I remembered forever. Jake pulling the snake out of the bag and scaring Andre, like that type of stuff. And then the matches, like Shawn Michaels versus Kurt Angle at WrestleMania. Like that is the type of stuff I've been aspiring to, laying the foundation on television, hoping I get the chance to blow off that major story on a PLE. And, we were doing that on NXT. And we did it for a second. Me and Drew got to tell that story for a second. They yanked them away from me. But that's ultimately why I do this and why I want to do it.
And we're glad you do it. There's so much we're looking forward to. And yet again, look, you're a man of many talents. We have a movie coming up, a short film that we have to speak about. Blue Evening, Karrion Kross special. But listen, give us a little insight to that. It's going to be interesting. We can't wait.
April 8th, it's going to be showing in its world premiere at the Pasadena Film Festival in California. For anybody who can't make it, I've got great news. We're going to be submitting to basically every single film festival, not only nationally, but in the world. I am speaking with my team right now about getting it over to Ireland, Scotland, Wales, London, everywhere. I want this available to people. We're talking about bringing this to Italy, Germany, literally everywhere. And God willing, we actually have the contacts and connections to do that. Being able to captain my own ship and be floating over everyone and everything on set and learning as well. I love the entire process of it. And the film is a drama, and without spoiling too much, it's about just an everyday man who is dealing with different types of traumas. He's dealing with drug addiction, and at the period of the film, he's homeless, and he's basically just trying to put it all back together. And that's all I'll say about it. There's a couple twists and turns in it that will not be expected, that I know people will really enjoy. And more importantly than anything, the story feels very real. It feels very real, and that's when I read the script. These elements just jumped off the page at me, and I was like, never mind me just having a supporting actor role in this. I want to bring this to life. I wasn't going to let them take the script anywhere. I was like, I will create this with you guys. I believe that much in it. We had an amazing cast, so.
Oh, we can't wait, man. That sounds epic, and that's a great way to pitch it ahead of that big release. It's going to be epic. We'll have all the details as soon as it is announced, and hopefully we have it here in Ireland. Karrion, I've got two quick questions, two fan questions. Today it was announced, obviously, Bret Hart, Stone Cold, they're going to be inducted into I suppose, a special award when it comes to WrestleMania for potentially the best match at Mania. But listen, what is your favorite WrestleMania match? Would you have one in particular? I'll put you on the spot, but is there any match that stands out for you?
Today, today it's still Shawn Michaels versus Kurt Angle. I'm very mood based with what my favorite is. It changes all the time. But Kurt Angle versus Shawn Michaels, and the lead up of Kurt terrorizing Shawn on the way there, his match with Marty Jannetty, his angle with Sherry on the way there, and just the match that they had. That's, for me personally, my favorite style of storytelling. And then leading up to that style in the ring where, it was sold as catch can versus Olympic wrestling. And it's one guy trying to outdo the other. And there were just so many little callbacks in the match, in the physicality, that rewarded you for watching the show episodically all the way up to that point. For me, it was perfect. And you'll ask them and they'll say there were so many things that, I want to do this, I want to do that, or whatever. They'll find imperfections of it. But to me, as a fan watching it, it was perfect.
It was, I agree. Last question, and that was a great answer. Last question. Look, obviously, they've announced WWE, I know it's the other brand, SmackDown, is going to be coming live to Dublin. First time ever, obviously, live on television that WWE comes to Ireland. But listen, you have a lot of Irish fans. Obviously, you're looking forward in the near future to get back to Ireland at some stage. And look, there's going to be plenty of opportunities, but you have a lot of love in Ireland. And have you got a message for the Irish fans?
Last time I was in Ireland, I competed against Sheamus, and I loved every single second of it. The fans in Ireland are some of the most passionate that I've competed in front of in the entire world. And I have literally wrestled everywhere in the world now, except for Australia, which is probably going to happen, if not this year, next year. It was a great crowd. I saw lots of families in the audience in Ireland, which I loved. It was mom and dads with their kids. That's how I started, being a family in the audience, and I can't wait to get back. And it was a hot crowd, and I know it'll be a hot crowd next time.
Yeah, well, Karrion, listen, it's an absolute pleasure, my man. We've spoke many times over the years, but we appreciate your time. We can't wait for what's around the corner. There's so much to watch out for with regards to Karrion Kross this year. But listen, pleasure. You're an absolute gent, and we'll catch you very soon, my man.
Thank you so much for having me.